Hush, hush.
Ow.
And
They were starting 5 minutes early?
yes,
Whoa.
I had to get that in there.
Oh, there you go. Now we got to kill 5 minutes somehow.
You gotta kill 5 minutes.
We'll do it. I got my Tasso cap on.
Oh, I got to take off my glasses. Oh my God! Listen, I had to get that beginning in there. That solo by Schwaber too. Can you do it for us, Schwaber?
No, he's too shy.
No.
No, come on.
No.
He's
Maybe
too
halfway through the
shy
show.
when the mic's on.
Come on, halfway through the show.
Stop being so lazy.
Oh, my-
Say something.
Maybe if they stick to the end, we'll do something.
You
at the end.
stick something. You stick
Yeah.
something lazy ass.
All right, listen, welcome to the Sports Porch Pittsburgh. We're glad you're here. We are live all over the world on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and some other place.
Some of you may
did I
be
get that right?
wondering.
YouTube, X,
Yeah.
LinkedIn,
All over the world.
All over the world. And
on
we
our
do.
website.
We drop, the website. You can always catch our website at theporcheslive.com, theporcheslive.com.
Theporcheslive.com.
Too shy, hush, hush, eye to eye.
That's a horrible
That's
voice.
you. That was you.
No,
that was you at the
no.
top of the show.
No, I have a
No.
professional singing
Oh,
voice.
well,
and
let's hear it. Let's hear it. Come on.
He had a
Come on,
backup
Schwab.
singer.
I'm not here to sing.
He
I'm
doesn't
here
wanna
to
do
talk,
that?
I'm here to talk sports.
Let's talk some
Our
sports.
We
fans
dropped
wanna
the
talk
show. We
sports.
dropped the podcast right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify,
Sports, music.
or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. And of course, you can always stream it while you're in the car because we don't want you to watch the show when you're driving the car. That would be a bad thing, right, Mark?
It would. I don't think we need to put that in there. I don't think anybody's suing our show
Okay.
over an accident.
Well, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
So I'm going to drop the
it was
link.
all because of the Sports Porch.
They told me to watch.
That's like Steve Martin. Why don't you tell him, honey? You know what movie that's from?
No.
Okay.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
No, it's the movie, the parents, the
Father of the Bride?
Yes, Father of the Bride. Yeah, where he's like, you remember, and then she's
Frank, tell Honk I'm going to have
Honk.
I knew
the
he'd be
chipper
back.
chicken.
That's right. That's right.
That is
Why
good.
am I opening the hot dog buns? Why? Because there are 8 hot dogs in the pack and there are 12 hot dog buns. I'm removing the superfluous buns.
Correct.
You got it? Okay.
Correct. It is a point well made.
It
why,
really is.
Why do they have the extra buns?
I don't know.
Maybe they're looking out for you. Maybe it's like, hey, you ripped one out too fast, and
I just think the
You know?
industries couldn't get together and come to a compromise.
probably,
Yeah, that happens a lot.
A lot.
probably, yeah.
That
Somebody
happens
at
a
some
lot.
point is just going to have to just decide less hot dog buns
Yep.
or more hot dogs.
Yes.
Pat
I
off
like the
track.
more hot dogs. Yeah.
Pat off track right away.
What he might be talking about, that guy must be an attorney.
I don't-
Lionel Hutz.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Who,
it must be.
I don't know who Lionel Hutz is.
I don't either.
But everybody else does except us.
Pat will tell us. Pat will tell us. Okay, listen, guys. Of course, this is a sports show.
Well,
This is a Pittsburgh sports
Did
show.
anything happen recently
I don't know. You've been
for the-
gone for weeks.
for the Steelers? I mean, it's free agency,
I
right?
don't know. I don't know.
You heard about Russell Wilson, right?
Yeah, of course. Well,
The Seattle quarterback.
here's the big thing, though.
Formerly from the Seattle Denver Broncos.
Here's the
the
big
Denver
thing.
Broncos. Russell
Guys,
Wilson.
here's the big thing. Deontay Johnson won't be running backwards for us anymore.
That is
Yeah.
exciting.
That is
That is
very
really
exciting.
exciting.
Yes.
I'm so happy.
Yes.
And we'll just start with that real quick. Because
Why?
because it is a big thing. And Pat on track. That's right. The Simpsons attorney, voiced by Phil Hartman. Okay,
I knew
thanks,
somebody
Pat.
would know.
And
Thanks.
The Simpsons had what to do with this program?
Yeah,
Well, we were going to get sued, remember?
he's trying to make a joke.
Oh
yeah.
my god!
Yeah, he's
that's-
pretty good at it.
That's off track.
He called us frenemies the other day when we were texting.
That's nice.
And David's back.
And
Hey.
DG is here. Good evening, gentlemen. Glad to see the Grand Schwabini is back in the Sadki. Is that Jewish for saddle?
Yes,
I don't think,
exactly.
I don't
No.
think
Yes.
so.
Is he trying to be?
I think that's called a pretty piss poor attempt at spelling.
Yeah. Oh, DG. He's our
man.
number one fan.
Wow.
You can't do that to
Oh,
DG.
you know
Those 2 weeks
Actually,
off
you know
are
what?
really not done you good.
Actually, you know what? I apologize. I thought that was Pat.
I love that.
man.
Thank you so much,
That's
Schwaber.
terrible.
That's
Sorry,
great.
BG.
Okay, listen. Let's
There
it's Yiddish, says Pat.
There you go.
It's Yiddish. Whatever, Pat.
Thanks, Pat.
Yeah, Pat knows everything. Actually,
He
Yeah,
does.
He does. All right, so let's dive into something here.
How about
I don't even know why we're here. Yeah, we're okay. So
I
right
think there
now,
have been some free agent
So
signings.
yeah,
Yes.
so
Yes.
let's go back. So
Here it is.
The year ended. We had Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, and Mason Rudolph. How many of the three do we still have?
zero.
That would be none.
Zero. And if you're
None.
looking at the screen, if you're watching us, this is I call this the Wilson Fields show, kind of like Wilson Phillips. Remember that band?
Oh, I love Wilson.
Yeah,
Phillips.
of course you do.
Huge Wilson.
The
Phillips.
Wilson Fields show begins in Pittsburgh. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about this.
I like it.
Mark had a good idea before the show when we were doing the Philly show.
All right,
He's got the order he wants this to go in.
let's go, Mark.
So am I going first? Is that what we're doing here?
We're going poly positive Chris Klein first.
All right, don't
All
give
right.
it away. Don't give it
I
away.
love it.
Just
We're going kind of mid-range viewpoint,
And then
Steve,
the real point of view.
and then I'm going to take you to the doldrums.
He's going to rip our heart out. That's been his plan all along. And Amy says, "Did you start the show early, Mark?
Yes, we did.
I'm almost done with the Jasmine rice.
Would you stop making fun of my wife,
I
you big
love
bully?
Amy, you'll have to go back and listen to the singing at the beginning.
yes, that's
what
why.
prompted
Yeah.
all this.
So, okay, my take. First of all,
You said yesterday it was the perfect situation.
okay, so why don't you just step in for me? Go ahead.
I'm not going to. I'm
Is
just
that it
trying.
now? You're gonna let me talk?
I'm letting you.
Is
You're
that-
gonna let me. He
Is
wouldn't
that-
let me talk the whole Philly show.
Is that true, Chris?
No, I don't. Well, yes, but here's why it's the perfect situation.
Let's hear it.
Because the situation with and drop your comments here if you want. Talk to us about it. Tell us how you feel. Any comment is relevant on this. So. I believe it's the perfect situation because we had the worst situation in our quarterback room for the last since they drafted Mason Rudolph. All right. So they draft Rudolph. We don't have to relive history, but it's a mess. It's a complete mess. Then we have Duck Hodges in here, Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
And, we're all familiar with that mess.
it was a.
So what happens in the offseason? Let's forget for right now that everybody's saying, well, they told Kenny Pickett that he was going to be the guy and blah, blah. Who cares? Okay. Who cares about that right now? We had a mess. And the mess was we had one quarterback on the roster named Kenny Pickett who hasn't shown that he can do very much at the professional level. We were not going to re-sign Mason Rudolph. And if we did, we would have had a bigger mess. So we cleaned house.
Well,
we
they already cut Mitch at that.
I know. That's why I'm not bringing him up. We cleaned house. And when we cleaned house, we signed Russell Wilson to a very team-friendly deal, the veteran minimum, because he's getting now. Look, we can talk about what a bargain it is all we
gets
want.
39 million.
He's still
from
getting
Denver.
39 million. Okay. So it's not like we pulled off some genius financial move, but what we got is a guy who can still play. I don't care what anybody says. He was on a horrible Denver team. And then he had a coach who didn't like him and benched him, even though he had thrown 26 touchdowns to 8 interceptions on a bad team.
Yep.
And he's coming in. He's got experience. He's won a Super Bowl. He's still fairly mobile. He doesn't have the legs he had before, but he knows how to run an offense and he knows how to run a team.
Yep.
Then we go and we trade for what I think is a bargain, a 6th-round pick. I think it moves up to a 4th round if Fields plays. Okay. A quarterback who said that Russell Wilson is who he modeled his game after. And
just not very well as of
yet
to this point.
And can learn behind Russell Wilson for a year or maybe 2. Now, people get all caught up about this, there's a 5th-year option. Look, that's a contract. They can rip that up and they can start over. And do you think Fields has any leverage? He has no leverage. He can't say, well, you got to pick up my $25 million option and sign me to it. No, we don't. So the situation that we had couldn't have gotten any worse in my mind because Kenny Pickett, first of all, now that it's come out, he didn't want to play here anymore anyway. We have a new offensive coordinator. Khan and Weidel What else did we do? We got rid of Mason Cole. We dumped Deontay Johnson. We can all talk about that individually.
Yeah.
But we're on the offensive side of the ball. They're cleaning house. They're bringing in a coordinator. They're bringing in an accomplished quarterback who can still play, and a guy in Justin Fields who can bang out an 80-yard touchdown run at any time.
Slash.
Options. Absolutely. I thought about that right away. I thought, here's another Cordell Stewart. Options. So do I think they're going to make the Super Bowl this year? Absolutely not. If they did, wow, would we have a great show. But do I think it's a more exciting, better situation for the Steelers? And do I think it shows that Omar Khan and Weidel and company are moving on from the trash that Kevin Colbert left behind? It was a dumpster fire. And what's next? What's next? Tomlin. He'll be next. If they don't have a good year this year, he'll be gone. That's what I think. I think that Art II stepped up and said, when he said, we got to make some changes, I think this is when they're making the changes. That's all I got for now. Go, Steve.
Well, the one thing you did miss was on the defensive side of things, they also signed Patrick Queen and got rid of some garbage with Pat Pete.
Absolutely,
right?
but I'm talking. Let's talk about the offense. We'll circle back to the defense.
Well, really, we should just be talking quarterback right now.
Yeah, sure, quarterback. Yeah.
But I mean that's the encompassing of all the moves that were made. As far as the quarterback position is concerned, there's a high amount of risk involved with these picks. Okay.
This is the typical Steelers fan. Here we go. Too much risk. Go ahead.
No, I didn't say too much risk. It's just, it's unlike Steelers. It's unlike.
I just have to interrupt you here. I know he's getting frustrated, but doesn't he look mad with that beard? Doesn't that make him look mad? Steve always looks like happy. He's like Happy Steve.
Let the man speak.
Happy Hockey Jesus.
Let the man talk.
How about if I smile when I speak?
I like the beard on you. I do. I want to know what everybody thinks about Steve's beard. Just drop a comment about that. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, as I was saying, there's a lot of risk associated with these quarterback picks, and and it's very much unlike the Steeler way, which is you draft, you grow your draft picks, and you get better through the draft. Right. They actually broke that mold when they got Minka, right? And then what happened was they broke that mold last year when they fired Canada. So this is actually not something as new as it would have been even 3 years ago.
That's actually a good point.
So I think this is a continuing in the movement towards the future, which is real football, which is scoring and free agent signings and plugging in key players where needed to make the team better to what they are now. Look, this team was always set up to win now, except they had an offense that was in the 1970s.
Right.
So now they brought the offense into the 2000s. I don't know that they're in the 2020s yet, because honestly, I don't know what Arthur Smith is going to do.
Right.
I've been told Arthur Smith is a genius, and he can create two offenses, one for Justin Fields and one for Russell Wilson. I'll believe that when I see it. I think that's a lot of a little bit too much for what's going on.
Yeah, his claim to fame is resurrecting Ryan Tannehill.
Right.
Which really is not that amazing.
Yeah, and then the name Derrick Henry always gets thrown around. Like he had Derrick Henry. So
in his prime.
Right, in his prime.
Basically when he could run for 2,000 yards a season. So he definitely does not have that. But I do have to admit, I'm much more excited about these two quarterbacks and not having Deontay. That's another discussion. Not having the other headaches in the lineup, because I think what happened, and I could be wrong about this, I don't know. I'm not in the locker room, but I think they basically took all of Tomlin's projects from a head case standpoint and just said, we don't need that here anymore. Let's just get people who want to play football, and let's concentrate on the football. Let's not think about what their lives are, where they came from, what their trajectory is for the rest of their lives. Let's just think about winning games this year. How about that for a change? And I think that's what's refreshing when they made all the changes and they took the whiteboard and they erased all the bad names and they started plugging in new names. By the way, I don't think they're done. They still have to go get a wide receiver. And I saw Amy ask, "What's up with Tyler Boyd?" Tyler wants to come back. And one of the reasons he hasn't signed yet probably was because the Kenny Pickett stuff was in the way. And now that that's out of the way, I think the Steelers like Tyler Boyd, but honestly, they got Mike Williams coming in. I'd rather have Mike Williams than Tyler Boyd. But we'll see what happens. I don't know how much money they have left for cap space to sign somebody like that. But as far as the quarterback position goes, I like what they've done. And I think it's an improvement, but I do see the risk side of it. What do you say, Mark?
Okay. So I'm going to bring y'all back to reality a little bit. Now, I will say this. Now, first of all,
right on, David.
First of all, 100% they're in better shape than they were last year. So there's no doubt about that. So that's a positive. And initially, when they signed Russell Wilson, I was kind of excited about it. I thought, this team was pretty good, just kind of missing a quarterback, right? And I figured, look, Russell Wilson isn't exactly what he was, but he's a good. I don't want to really say game manager because that's really kind of making it seem like he's not that good. But 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions is, you're protecting the football. You're operating the team efficiently, right? You're not throwing for 40 touchdowns like, Tom Brady or anything, but you're playing some pretty good ball, right? And if that's the case, could the Steelers go further with Russell Wilson at the helm? Playing like that with the team that they have. And I initially thought, yeah, I think they could. But, then,
here it comes.
Yeah.
I thought more about it. And then here's now, is it true that nobody wanted these guys? Well, not nobody.
No.
But almost nobody.
Well, teams that needed a quarterback.
Right. I mean, the bottom line is like nobody really wanted these guys. Now, like, for example, if Russell Wilson,
I think Atlanta wanted them.
If you had to pay Russell Wilson, $20 million a year, I don't think he'd be on the Steelers. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Probably not.
We hit that last week. Yeah.
But that kind of means like nobody really wants him.
No, that's not true.
And then Justin Fields is, going for a 6th round, maybe 4th round. Nobody really wants him.
Also not true.
So now I said, okay, well, you can't really look at it like that. You've got these good feelings, you've got these bad feelings. So let's go statistics. Okay. So I pulled out what I feel is the best stat for quarterbacks, which is QBR. Now, question for you guys. Can either of you guys tell me what QBR actually is?
Nope.
Quarterback rating.
It is quarterback rating.
Yeah.
But listen, so
here we go. Now look,
listen,
didn't we learn in the previous show that you're no good at math?
Now listen, I figured if I'm going to talk about this, I should actually understand it. And actually, I think it's a good education. You guys will be interested.
All right.
Make it quick.
So this is how quarterback QBR is determined. It's actually determined by each quarterback action play. Okay, so It incorporates every pass,
right?
Every rush,
sure.
Every time they're sacked, every time they scramble, penalties that they call, turnovers. It looks at what's expected out of a play. So each play actually is graded based on difficulty. So, for example, a 5-yard pass is not as important as a 40-yard completed pass, things of that sort. So, to me, what's kind of interesting about it is it's better than the typical quarterback rating, which I always feel is like a BS kind of stat, because it's kind of like, hey, you throw for 280 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions.
You mean the passer rating?
Yeah, like, well, you have 100 rating, you were amazing today. Meanwhile, you threw 3 balls that should have been intercepted and the guys just dropped them.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So QBR, and look, who's number 1 in the league?
Thank you, Yoho son.
Who's number 1 in the league?
Patrick Mahomes.
The purd turd.
Oh,
the purd turd.
Hall of Fame.
So this.
Right, so I know my quarterbacks. Is that what you're trying to prove here?
So this is what it is.
Because I'm lost.
So this is what it is. Above 75 QBR is excellent. 50 is average.
Okay. So can we get to what their
Just
QBRs are?
What
Yeah,
Russell's
please.
rating is.
Yeah.
Please.
So Russell is 50.7.
Okay.
So he's the 21st ranked QBR in the league.
He's a little above average.
Which means he's 21 out of 32.
No, whatever.
Okay.
All right.
Fields, 23.
Yeah.
Out of 32.
Right.
46.1.
Okay.
Picket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
27th
right.
out of 32. 38.1.
Right.
Okay.
Then I also looked at passing yards per game. I just figured, let's just flat out just look. Can the guy sling it? Right?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
25th out of 32, Russell Wilson.
Yep.
28th out of 32, Justin Fields.
Right.
Okay.
Pickett, not even in the top 32.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So it's still better. It's still. So you're saying there's a chance.
The bottom line I'm getting at is you're talking about, Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, 2 guys that honestly are just guys. They're between 20 and 25 out of 32.
Okay.
That's what they are.
Yeah, I think we understand that.
Okay.
But that doesn't leave me feeling that good.
I just like the fact that he's got the name is Russell Wilson. I did not want to see,
Well, but see, that's part of the problem. See, that's part of the problem.
I am always part of the problem.
Seriously, tell me this.
I'm just telling
Thank you, DG. Thank you.
Tell me this.
Yeah.
Like, when was the last time, besides, let's say, Tom Brady? Okay. It was the greatest of all time.
Right.
Yeah.
When's the last time that like some guy who was a really good quarterback 7 or 8 years ago went to a new team and was amazing?
Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
With Denver.
Yeah.
And he won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
That's the last guy.
Yeah. Did he win 2 with Denver? One with Indy and 2 with Denver?
He won 1 with Indy.
I think it was 1 and 1.
And 1 with Denver. And that was the year where he retired after the Super Bowl because he couldn't throw the ball down the field.
Yeah, he didn't have a good game.
Yeah, he was actually not that good. He was like a game manager.
Okay, well, nobody around here saying that Wilson's going to take
I'm just saying they're just guys.
I'm going to defer to Hockey Jesus.
Here's what I want to say about Justin Fields. First of all, Justin Fields he was not a free agent. Like, not all the teams that he could have gone to, he would have gone to, because the Chicago Bears was not going to send him to an NFC team. Yeah. So therefore, you can just take half the teams out of the mix.
Right.
But they probably still would have sent him to the Falcons. And they definitely would have sent him to the Raiders. But they sent him to the Steelers instead. And I don't know why that is. The only thing I can figure is that the Steelers made the best offer at that point. And,
probably.
And that's really the bottom line. So if you take half the NFL out of the equation, I think that, you can't say, well, nobody wanted Justin Fields. People didn't want Justin Fields because they see him as a 1-year guy that they got to make a decision on May 2nd about whether they want to give him $20 million or $25 million.
Yeah, it was about the money, not about Justin Fields.
The Steelers are in a unique situation where they can afford to spend a lot of money on him this year. They can even say, look, we'll pay him $25 million next year, and think of it as 12 million this year and 12 million next year. It's still a damn bargain for a guy of his caliber. He has more talent than Ken Pickett. He will learn a better offense. And let's face it, those teams, Chicago, were gunslingers, and so was Denver. And the reality is, in my opinion, their quarterback rating was much lower because they're taking much more risk. I don't know what Arthur Smith's going to run, so I can't tell you what their offense is going to look like. But I have a feeling they're going to be a pass-first team that's going to then run the ball. And then once they have that combination in place, it's going to work out just fine, even if the guys are average. One, because they can throw the ball better. And when Justin Fields can't throw the ball, guess what he can do? Run it better than anybody in the league. Best running quarterback in the league last year.
Yes.
So that just gives them another dimension to be able to play with no matter who's in there. Now, I know that Russell Wilson is the starter, right? He is going to be the guy. But I like the Justin Fields signing because now they got a 2-year guy who can take over for Russ if they want. And like Chris said, they can tear up the contract and they say, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. Instead of before May 2nd, they're going to sit down with him. They're going to say, rather than give you the 20 million, 25 million for next year already, how about if we just restructure your contract so we give you 50 million over the next 4 years and we'll just start paying that now.
Yeah. That's right.
And that makes more sense because even at $10 million, they can still afford to go get another quarterback after Russell Wilson has retired and is no longer effective because his arm falls off like Peyton Manning's and Ben's does.
Right.
They all fall off.
The upside to this is a lot higher than the upside with Kenny Pickett. That's the bottom line. And it's more exciting because it's bigger names it's a new era for the offense. And by
the way, I have to say something.
Okay.
Justin Fields had no say in where he was going. He had no say so. He's on a rookie contract. So anybody who says, well, he wanted to play for Tomlin, bullshit.
Oh, gosh. You just ruined it for me.
Anybody
who
who
have put that up there.
Anybody who says, that the Steelers, he went to the Steelers because it was the right fit. That's bullshit. The Bears just took the best deal they could possibly get for him, and they wanted to move on. The Bears are in big trouble, by the way, because they don't have a quarterback now.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they're going to do, but they clearly had to move on from him. And that's what I'm more scared of. What do they know that we don't know about him that they wanted to move on from him when the guy could clearly throw the ball to DJ Moore and could run the ball whenever he wanted?
Well, I think
that's what I'm scared.
I need to get some comments in here. So hurry it up, Schwaber. Come on. Go ahead.
Well,
here's the thing.
Yeah, the big problem with Justin Fields is number one, turnovers. Part of the reason why that QBR is so low, I can't remember the exact number, but it's something like 43 games, 43 fumbles, like something like that.
He set a record
Justin
for
Fields
fumbles.
is a turnover machine. There's no doubt about that.
It's a big number like that.
He has to work on that.
And the other thing that I wanted to bring up was I actually felt better about the situation before Justin Fields came in. I just felt like the Steelers actually had a plan in place. And I almost feel like what they're doing now instead is they're saying, hey, let's see if Russ can do it. And if he can't do it, let's see if Justin can do it.
Yeah, I don't think that at all. I think the plan is I think this is a much better quarterback plan than before. Now, whether it works or not is totally anybody's guess, but it's definitely not the dumpster fire that was the quarterback room for the last 3 years. It's different.
Keep in mind, though, 2 years ago, not last year, but 2 years ago, Russell Wilson was a dumpster fire.
Right.
And you also have all those issues about every single person hates playing with him.
Yeah, well...
No, we don't know if that's BS or not, but there's a lot of talk about that stuff.
Right.
No, you're right. Those are the things to be concerned about.
So my buddy Jeff is in the house again from York. Hey, Jeff, what's up? He says, hey, everyone, what if they want to give Wilson a multi-year deal? Can they with the contract? He's still in it with Denver. And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
That contract takes a back seat. I don't know what the economics of it are, but they're already talking about the fact that it's possible that they might discuss a multi-year deal, and some of the media here think that's a smokescreen. Yoho Son says we will not score more than 17 points a game, and only because Boswell gets us 9 of them. Listen, you've been one of our biggest fans for years, and we appreciate you. But can we have a little positivity? I mean, it's been so bad the last couple of years. Let's at least try to, if not for anything else, these two quarterbacks are definitely more exciting to watch.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
Right.
There's no doubt about
Right.
that.
Give me a game. Last year and the year before, those games were brutal to watch, just brutal. And it was a combination of the Canada offense and then the dumpster fire that I keep referring to. And DG said we have the same question. You got something to throw in here, Steve?
Just one last thing to add.
Okay.
Joe Burrow had a 51.6 QBR last year.
There you go, buddy.
So I'm just saying
that's pretty bad.
That the QBR, to me, I get where you're going with that. And I agree with you that we have to kind of pump the brakes on these guys being the savior at the quarterback position. The only reason we're excited is because it's not Ken.
That's exactly
right. Dunces.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I
exciting.
agree with. I mean, I will say this. Now, granted, I've presented sort of, the other side picture, if you will.
Right.
That being said, I still believe that they're closer to winning a playoff game now than they were before either were on the roster.
Right. Right.
But you're both right in the sense that the Steelers still aren't in a position to be able to compete with Kansas City and maybe not even Buffalo.
Yeah, probably. Well, you know what?
I actually I do believe that they're in a much better position to compete for the AFC North title, though.
Yeah, I agree with you.
They poached Patrick Queen.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yep.
They may even take Tyler Boyd away from Cincinnati, which it's not a big deal for them.
He's okay.
He's all right.
He's a good slot receiver. He's a good slot receiver.
That's not a big theft. And let's face it,
Joe Mixon's gone.
The Browns don't have Flacco next year, so they're in big trouble.
And I got one last thing here. There you go. Who'd have ever thought that hug would mean something? Huh?
They're going to be buds now.
Yep, they're going to be and the best looking quarterback room in the NFL.
It really is.
There you go. Yeah. Yep. They got the looks. They got the looks to kill.
It really is.
They do. Jalen and Kenny. If you're listening to the podcast, the picture when the Eagles played the Steelers and Jalen and Kenny are lovingly embracing each other. Yeah. So goodbye. Bye, Kenny. The defense. Patrick Queen.
No, I love the Patrick Queen signing.
Yeah. Does he show up this year for is he the answer to the Devin Bush debacle? To the loss, 7 years ago or whatever to Ryan Shazier.
He's a real deal sideline to sideline big play linebacker, and I think he's also an ascending player at the same time. So I think his best years are ahead of him. And I'm really shocked. I think he was by far the best linebacker on the open market.
Right.
I'm surprised that
the Steelers signed him.
No, that the Ravens didn't re-sign him. Yeah. That they let him go.
Well, he's a casualty of that Lamar Jackson contract. They just didn't have the money to sign him.
Yeah,
and they already have that other guy who's really
Roquan Smith.
Yeah, Roquan Smith.
Right.
So they just can't afford to spend that much money in that position.
But
that happens to the Steelers all the time, by the way. These guys that go away.
Yeah,
they just don't have the money to keep them. They want to keep them.
That reminds me of like the Kevin Green signing years ago. Now, free agency was different then, but remember we picked up Kevin Green.
You're right. That's you're right about that.
But the issue potentially with Patrick Queen was when they drafted him. I think he was their number one pick.
He was the number one pick.
They drafted him. He had kind of underperformed. And now not in a Devin Bush sort of way, but he wasn't really, because he was calling the plays. He was wearing the green dot. I hate that phrase. It sounds so stupid, but it's what they do.
Yeah.
So, and so he was unable to like really process everything and play at the top of his game. But Roquan Smith comes in and he's the guy and he's capable of doing all that. So now Queen is free to play his game. As long, he gets in the position, he plays his game. Is that going to happen here? I mean, I don't know. They said he might be wearing the green dot here. Are they going to give it to Landon Roberts? All this stuff will be sorted out.
That matters.
You don't think it matters?
No, I don't think it matters who calls the plays, because you can have a guy who's calling the plays who isn't the alpha
Right.
on the field. I mean, that doesn't matter.
Right.
It's all about headspace when it comes to that.
Yes.
And the defensive schemes. He may not pick it up right away,
Right.
but his athletic ability and his talent will take over eventually. I'm not worried about that. The other guy they signed was Deshaun Elliott. He was formerly from the free safety from Miami.
He's actually pretty good.
I really like that signing because that could really free up Minka to be that freelance safety that he plays so well. The problem with so does the Queen signing, because now he's not going to have to make all the damn tackles. He can think about tackling guys to make them fumble, hitting them hard, jumping the cut, getting the interceptions that we saw the first year he was with us.
Yes.
That could be very exciting for this defense. We'll see. I mean, who really knows how these guys are going to play together? The only problem with getting so many free agents is they got to play together and they got to like each other. So you just don't know that until you get them all in the room. Hopefully, if Tomlin is the guy. By the way, I still think they're going to extend Tomlin this summer. And
that doesn't mean they won't fire him. I mean, lots of coaches get extended in that. And now I don't want to start anything.
I'm just saying that, like, he's like, I think Tomlin's got a pretty big task ahead of him. Maybe since they had to make that decision about Big Ken, and these are more players, so he's going to have to rely on more coaches to help him out. I think. If it's true that these players are coming here because they want to play for Coach T and he's a great motivator, then it shouldn't be a problem for a veteran coach like him. But I think he's got a big battle ahead of him. I hope he gets a lot of sleep this summer.
I mean, where I'm coming from when it comes to my feelings on Tomlin is that they cleaned house. They reshuffled the deck. They made a big free agent signing as far as Patrick Queen. They brought in another safety to help Minka. We still have the draft coming up. If they're following the Andy Weidel plan, which we've talked about now for 2.5 years,
they still need it.
They're gonna draft linemen. They're gonna draft a lot.
They gotta get a center.
Well, I will say this. I think the most encouraging thing that I'm seeing with the Steelers is that, and I could be wrong. I mean, I'm just from an outsider's point of view. It's not Tomlin's Steelers anymore.
Right.
Like I agree that if it was up to Tomlin, he'd still be like, with his chest against the wall, Kenny Pickett. He's
I think you're right about that.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody really knows that. And
that's the feeling I get. Yeah.
Everybody said, that he didn't want to get rid of Deontay Johnson.
Right.
Everybody else said,
exactly.
He's gone, and he was gone.
Right.
So we'll see. I mean, we don't know anything when it comes to those sort of things. Nobody does, even the other people saying the same things. But it does have the feel of we're putting players in there to play the game. No more head cases. Let's talk about football. Let's get this thing moving in that direction. And I do believe that is in direct response to what Rooney said at the end of the year about, we're definitely going to go in a different direction. This is the most active the Steelers have been in the free agency market in my life
in a long time.
Well, it's also the first time that you can honestly say since his father's passing that Rooney has had a positive impact on the team.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
I mean, they got a lot of really good players. Will they be able to play together?
Well,
That's the risk.
they've got
That's
got a few months to to sort that all out. I'm sure they'll be heading down to Morton's and
maybe
having dinner together.
I think they'll head over to Kennywood first.
Latrobe.
Latrobe, a little early Latrobe.
I got a comment in here from Pat. Says the green dot doesn't call the plays, the guy in his ear does. Thank you, Pat. You're right about that. You are on track. I was off. Got to admit when I'm wrong. Craig Mastro says, I wonder if Kenny Pickett sang "I'm Just Ken" leaving the facility. Can you give us a rendition of that, Schwaber, with that incredibly professional voice you have?
I don't know what he's talking about.
I mean, you know every song in the world. Yoa Sun says, has the overly loyal team finally see it's just business? I think I understand that. And we've got somebody who's saying hello here. I'm not sure that
I'm going to need an interpreter for that one.
Has the overly loyal whatever, blah blah. So Hey, look, it's exciting. You're right. I mean, this is
It's different. It's different. Well, let's see where it ends up.
And we still have the draft to go through, right? And
I mean, they're definitely going to go offensive line. They have to definitely get a center to fill the Mason Cole void.
Yeah.
They could go back to that idiot. I don't even want to say his name, Herbig, who was actually a center. They could go back to him.
I really think.
And the question is do they do the Broderick Jones on the left side versus the right side thing?
Yeah,
there's still some things to figure out.
I see him moving to the left side because it's Arthur Smith.
I think I think they're going to draft Powers Johnson, the number 1 center in the draft.
Yeah.
At pretty much every draft board I look at, that's kind of where he's going, like somewhere between 20 and 30.
Yeah, makes sense.
I mean, it makes the perfect sense move.
Yeah. I'm with you on that.
Hey, we got a 6th round pick we can move up with.
Yeah. Well, look, they've been so active or proactive, whatever you want to put it, in free agency so far, and clearing that deck and kind of turning it over.
Yeah.
Anything could happen in this draft. I mean, but
true.
If they're being logical and we're being logical, right? That's where you think they're going to at least get the kid from West Virginia. If Johnson, I call him Powers Booth Johnson, one of the greatest actors of all time. Powers Booth. Anyway, so look at Schwaber's face. I'm just kidding. I don't think he's one of the greatest actors of all time.
Hall of Fame.
Sure. So listen, guys, we got to move on here. We've got a couple more things we want to talk about, but of course I want to thank you for watching live all over the world on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X.
One last thing I do want to chime in on.
Get it in, Schwaber.
And we're going to have to wait, but hopefully it'll be one of our shows coming up sometime. When does that schedule drop? Is it July? Around July?
The actual schedule, when the dates and everything.
May.
Yeah,
it's May. I thought it was May.
I think we will know who's playing who. Like, because we may already actually know.
Because I think it's going to be, but it's who and when.
Yeah,
because I think the schedule is going to be really interesting. Because
somebody already mentioned that it's highly possible that the Steelers will open in Denver. Because of what just happened,
right?
Because the NFL loves to do that.
I love how they do,
right?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that it's going to be really interesting because the start of the season is going to be so critical to what happens this year.
Yeah.
Because look, Tomlin is going to stick with Russell Wilson for a while, right? For a while, but if it's a really hard schedule. And, they get off to maybe the first 9 games, they're 3-6. Then we could be on Justin Fields' watch.
Yeah. I don't even really want to think about that.
So it's going to be really interesting.
Well, know one thing Mike Tomlin will do. He will secure whatever it takes to get that winning season.
That's right. That's right. True. So I'll stick with Russ for the whole year.
Yeah.
On a 5-game win streak.
Whatever it is. He'll
9-8.
Yeah. Okay. We dropped the Sports Porch podcast right after the show. So if you haven't been able to watch the whole thing, you can always subscribe to it on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. And of course, you can visit our website at theporcheslive.com, theporcheslive.com.
Theporcheslive.com.
And May 11th.
Silent night.
Mark, May 11th.
This must be
holy night.
I don't know why he's assumed
Time has come.
Okay, all right.
That's good. Let's just let this play out.
Gone. Sleep in heavenly peace.
Wow. Nobody knew they were going to get this.
I just can't. All right.
Time for the Hockey Jesus.
Yes, Hockey Jesus preaches on the podcast after every single hockey game. And he's on YouTube now. He's done a fantastic job of setting up the video pod on YouTube. So, as soon as you can, go over to YouTube, subscribe to the Sports Porch. It's the Sports Porch, the black and gold edition on YouTube. You'll know what I mean when you see it. And you can watch the Hockey Jesus after every single Penguins game. Take it away, Jesus.
My goodness, there's so much to talk about with the Penguins, but
they didn't sign Russell Wilson, did they? Yes, Pat, we'll get to that. Oh my God. All right, listen, go ahead. I'm tired. You take it away.
It's been an exhausting show, hasn't it?
It has been.
Look, the Penguins.
Peace be with you.
Yeah.
The Penguins are down to they played 69 games, right? So they got 13 left. They essentially have to win 10 of those 13 at least to make the playoffs. It's bleak times for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Since we last talked, we lost Jake Gensel. Everybody knows that he's playing for Carolina now. Sid kind of went into a funk, had a 12-game streak where he didn't score a goal, and finally got one.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Finally got one yesterday.
Yeah.
Look, Sid's this is all new for Sid. Normally at the trade deadline, they're adding weapons.
Yeah.
Now they subtracted a weapon. Not only did they subtract a weapon,
his best friend.
They subtracted the weapon that he's been playing with since they won the cup back in 2017. So it's different for him, and I think different can be good for Sid, although he is definitely a man of deep habits.
Right.
So, dude, did you know he still wears the same shoulder pads that he wore in year one?
No, I didn't
know that.
No, I did not know that, but I mean,
so
I thought you were going to say boxer shorts.
So bodily speaking, he hasn't matured.
Yeah.
He has, but his equipment has not.
Yeah.
He just likes things the same, and so it's different for him.
Man, he'd be tough to be married to. Don't you think?
That's probably why he's not married.
Oh, he's not?
I think he's got a girlfriend.
Yeah, he's got a long-time girlfriend.
Long-time girlfriend.
I think he can only focus on one thing.
I think it's time for him to step up to the plate. I mean, come on. To use take it to the net.
He's not ready for that yet.
Get a breakaway.
Can't we just get another Stanley Cup? Then he can get married. How about that?
All right. If Hockey Jesus says so, that's what'll happen.
But here's the deal: the Penguins are going on the road. They got New Jersey, Dallas, and Colorado coming right in front of us. Those are three really difficult games.
15 more games or 16?
13 more games.
I think I missed a couple Hockey Jesus broadcasts.
They should beat the Devils.
So the Devils are 1 point behind them right now. That's where they got to keep the distance from the Devils. They don't want them in the picture, right? And then they got Washington and the Islanders and Philadelphia in front of them. Now I'm not going to talk. The difference between the wild card and the third spot the Philly owns is like 1 or 2 points.
Yeah, it's like 3 points.
So they're really right now there are 5 teams for 2 spots. Well, yeah, that's right, because it's Detroit, who we just beat. By the way, that's why that game was so big the other night.
Right.
Beating them and keeping the pressure on them. And they're, by the way, they don't look like a playoff team.
They don't look good. No.
They lost Dylan Larkin, and without Dylan Larkin, that they just don't have any scoring. And they don't have the goalie strength to be able to do anything. I don't like them. Philly's faded a little bit, but they are like playing 500 right now. So they're still I still think they're possible, still in contention. The Islanders were great. They won like 5 or 6 in a row, and then they just lost 3 in a row.
I was going to say, didn't the Rangers beat them up the last game?
Yeah, they just lost 3 in a row. They were really streaking because they were like 2 or 3 points behind the Penguins, and then they zoomed over us. And for some reason, the Washington Capitals won't die. I can't explain it. I don't know why. They're not good either. But they're just winning games.
So are you trying to tell me that you're in the opinion now, my Lord and Savior, that the Penguins do have a chance at making the playoffs? If it would matter.
They're not out of it, but
I know they're not out of it.
They literally will have to beat the teams that are in front of them the rest of the season.
Okay.
So that means winning tomorrow night. If they lose tomorrow night, bad sign.
Right.
If they split Dallas and Colorado, even if they lose both of those games, it's not the end of the world, but that just means they're going to have to beat Carolina instead, who they play on Tuesday.
Okay.
And if they beat Carolina, no matter what, they have to sweep Columbus. They play them back to back. And Columbus is actually playing pretty well now with a guy named Nylander, who they got from the Penguins.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
Yeah,
we remember that name.
I thought he was a pretty good player, and yet Sully didn't want to play him. And then after that, it gets really interesting because they play at New York, at the Devils, at Washington, and Tampa Bay. Those are all teams that they have to beat if they want to jump over. That's the critical stretch there. So you're talking April Fool's Day, 4-1 through 4-6. That will determine whether the Pittsburgh Penguins may, if they can hold serve here before the first.
Okay.
If they can play 500 between now and the first, they need to win all those games in order to make the playoffs, and that's tough. That's really difficult. I don't think they'll do it, but here's the problem: if they don't do it, you want them just to lose everything. Because
you want them to have more shots.
The players that are in the first 10 picks are always pretty damn good.
Right.
After that, you're in a crapshoot. Honestly, you really are. Like all the guys are the same at that point. So if you're not going to be there, you might as well try and win them all, because no matter if you're picking like say 22nd or 18th, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
All right. So
They're all the same player.
DG has a comment here. He says women might complain about Sid, but if they thought about things properly, they'd value a multimillionaire who doesn't need to look for the newest and next great thing. Can you say trophy wife?
Well,
and the answer to that question, David, is yes. Yes, I can. Thank you very much.
what a setup that was. Well,
I've been waiting for that. Yeah, I mean, you were sitting there talking about like how many games they got to go through and all this kind of stuff. And listen, Hockey Jesus, I worship at your altar
as well. You should.
But I saw, thank you. But I saw that comment come in, and I was like, come on, man, just get to the point.
So they have a chance, but it's still a very slim chance.
Yeah.
I think that what I say 13 games left, they have to go basically like 10-2-1 in order to make the playoffs.
That seems insurmountable, doesn't it, for this team?
Well, I don't know though. I mean, well, first of all, I don't think it's as bleak as you think in terms of, I think it's actually 5 teams vying for 3 spots. Because,
if you're going to throw Tampa Bay in there, then it's 6 for 3.
Well, yeah, because it's the 2 wild cards and then whoever gets the third in the Metro.
Yeah, that would be 6.
Right.
That would be 6 teams, because then you're going to throw 6. Tampa Bay in there.
Okay.
I
just feel like I
feel like Tampa Bay is going to be strong enough. Their goaltending's better, much better than everybody else.
Yes,
I think they're going to be in one of those 3 spots.
Okay.
Well, they can't be in the 3rd spot in the Metro.
Okay.
But I think that Tampa Bay will 100% be in.
I think they could potentially make it though with a less than stellar record. I mean, I think they could.
That gets them to like 92 points. That's where I had them. That number might actually be more like 90.
It wouldn't shock me, like, because I'm thinking, like, believe it or not, I mean, like, if they went 7-6, what's 14 points from where they are?
14 points gets them only gets them the 83 points. That's not enough. There's no way.
Yeah,
83 points.
Unless somebody goes on a really big slide.
There's just
right.
Like, most of the teams are already at 74 points.
Right.
So they would go like what, 5 and 8? Like I just don't see that happening.
It can happen though.
But 4 teams, that's the problem.
Yeah,
There's so many teams.
Yeah.
Like one of those teams is going to get hot.
Right.
And I thought it was going to be the Islanders, but now I'm not so sure. I don't think it could be Detroit, but they've lost so many games. Maybe they go on a little hot streak now. I don't think so. So it's just hard. It's hard to know.
But some of these teams, like for example, it seems like the Rangers win every game. That's got to stop at some point.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean? At some point they're gonna pull back on the throttle. They're gonna sit guys.
Right.
And those are the teams you want to play at the end. Like we play Boston, like third to the last game. It's very possible Boston's sitting a lot of players that game.
Well, I guess the bigger point here is that in order to get into the playoffs, they're going to need some help.
Yeah.
They're going to have to win what they need to win, but a couple of these teams are going to have to, maybe lose 2 or 3 in a row.
You're saying they got to at least win 9, like 9 and 4.
I really believe it's got to be 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
But you know what
We'll see.
happens. Some of those could be, overtime losses and they gain
Right.
and shit like that.
Right.
But you can't have overtime losses to like the Devils or Washington or Detroit.
yeah, because you gain no ground.
Because
split.
they're gaining a point.
Right.
You gain no
split.
ground. Right.
And did you see the other night? I forget who it was, but somebody needed. Oh, it was Minnesota. Minnesota needed points so badly. It was an overtime game. They pulled their goalie, and when you pull your goalie, you forfeit the point that you gained if you lose.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Is that real?
yeah, and they lost the point.
Seriously?
They lost the point. You can do it. You can pull the goalie and
Wow, I didn't know that.
and play 4-on-3, but if you lose the game, you lose the point.
Does the other team
Wow,
get
I
both
did not
points?
know that.
Yeah, they get.
Ooh,
Well,
yeah.
they get both points for the win anyway.
Anyway, okay,
but
yeah.
Minnesota actually
They didn't
loses.
get the point, the loser
Yeah.
point. Right.
By the way, I heard something today also that NHL does want to keep the 3-on-3 overtime, which I'm personally against. I don't like it.
I think it's very exciting.
it's very. I think it's exciting. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but I think when it comes to knowing which teams are going to perform well in overtime in the playoffs, there is no clue. You can't use that as a measure for anything.
Yeah, because
It's
the
just
playoffs are
true.
different. The
It's-
playoffs are
it's
the
just,
whole.
It's just
yeah.
for
Yeah.
pure entertainment purposes.
Well,
And I tell you what, that overtime the other day versus Ottawa was something crazy. It was the craziest overtime I've ever seen. Like
Well, it's
Ottawa had 6 shots on goal. Like normally, if you get 2 shots on goal, you win.
yeah,
Because
well,
one of them's going.
the
in.
reason why they're so fun is because it becomes like breakaway after breakaway. It's
Yeah,
basically what
right.
it becomes.
Well, and it's some of them. If you watch, like they play such a control game,
Right. And then the other
it's
team's
boring
tired.
as hell. Like they're just skating around waiting for somebody else to
Right.
get tired, and then they attack.
Right, exactly.
And then they're tired and they can't attack.
right.
And that's when it gets dumb. But once they start skating back and forth, forget about it. Yeah, if Minnesota won that overtime, then they would get the 2 points. But I thought I heard that they lost, and it could have been the opposite. I think they were playing against Nashville or somebody like that. So you can look it up. But that is absolutely true. If you pull your goalie and you lose that point.
Okay, so thank you, Hockey Jesus. Next Hockey Jesus is tomorrow night. Is it tomorrow night? Is the game?
Tomorrow night
Okay,
at New Jersey.
Hockey Jesus.
My son will be there, an early birthday present for me.
Awesome. So maybe he'll give you a report.
I asked for a picture.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so a picture. So you can hear the Hockey Jesus on the Sports Porch podcast right after every single Penguins game. Next one being tomorrow night in New Jersey.
Baby Jesus.
And on
Baby Jesus Max.
No, Baby Hockey Jesus. Baby Hockey Jesus.
Baby Hockey Jesus.
BHJ. Yeah. We'll come up with something good for that. Okay. And remember, we dropped the Sports Porch podcast right after the show, but I have an assignment. for everybody.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Have you guys watched the Dynasty yet on Apple TV?
Dynasty.
The Dynasty, New England Patriots.
No, not yet.
Okay. That's your assignment. I've watched the whole thing.
Wait a minute. So I'm going to get a little crazy here, and I'm going to say
Here we go.
Patriots win 6 Super Bowls. Am I right?
Yes, you are.
How about this one?
Tom Brady wins.
Tom Brady becomes the greatest quarterback ever. How about this one?
Yeah.
Many will argue that Bill Belichick is one of the greatest coaches of all time.
No.
Am I on to something here?
No, but you're filled with energy.
Am I on to
It's
something
filled with-
here?
you must have missed
Because
us.
I just
you think
want
you
to
missed
watch.
us?
I want to watch things that I've seen 100,000 times over and over and over again.
No.
Thank you for telling me to watch documentaries.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. This is fantastic. I missed you.
By the
I missed
way,
you.
I will watch that.
Okay.
And David, you are right. Minnesota did win that game, but if they would have lost that game, they would have lost the point.
Thank God for Schwaber's rant. We were able to sort out that Minnesota overtime situation.
It
Yeah.
was driving me a little crazy.
I just can't. You know what? You know what?
Yeah, go
I've
ahead.
got a feeling.
Yeah.
I got a suspicion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Go
There's
ahead.
a kicker
Yeah.
on New England.
Yeah.
Okay.
Adam Vinatieri.
Yeah.
And somehow I think Brady's going to get him there his first year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
Maybe.
going to come down to a Vinatieri kick
Yeah.
for the Super Bowl victory.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am
You could be right.
am I on it?
No, it was actually his second year. It was Brady's second year.
Well, he didn't play
You
his
were
first
so-
year.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Oh, so if I saw the documentary, I'd probably understand that.
You would understand that.
Wow.
You
Well,
would.
This is neat.
This is why you have to
Wow.
watch the documentary.
Wow.
Yeah. No, it's no.
Wow. I
Okay.
can't wait to hear the little stories that Vince Wilfork has to share.
I'm waiting for Amy to kick in here and say she's sick of Mark. I mean, come
Yeah.
on now. No. The reason that
I can't wait to hear Rodney Harrison's take on Deflategate.
Yeah. You don't hear that.
Darn.
So they kept out all of the bad stuff from the documentary.
No, Rodney Harrison is just not in the documentary.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Because he works for the NFL now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they have a picture of Tom Brady with his shirt off at the combine and how ridiculously flabby he looked?
Yes, I think they
That's in there?
Yeah, definitely.
Crazy. I've never seen that. I can't wait to see that again. I'm excited for this. This is exceptional. Wow.
We're just breaking news.
Wow.
Here. We're
Mark,
just
you need to
breaking
look
This
at
is
Mark,
so
Mark,
neat.
Marky, you need to look at your
Wow.
Yeah.
Dynasty.
Yeah. So,
Dynasty. Isn't that the term they give to teams that win multiple Super Bowls in a short period of time?
yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Like-
They
like-
did one for the Patriots.
Did he take any of that
Wow.
liquid cocaine that you were
Wow.
offering?
This
him?
is-
No, he did not.
Boy,
Yeah.
this is going to be something.
He
Yeah.
did not.
Wow.
Yeah, it
I
is.
wonder if they'll show a shot of somebody drinking clam chowder talking about Tom Brady.
Yeah. It was like a New England Cockney English accent.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
it just
yeah,
was St.
Oh, they're
Patrick's Day.
wicked great. Tommy Brady's going to win the game.
I can't with you. I just can't. You're just begging for the music. All right. That's your assignment. Watch the damn thing and then we'll talk about it. Okay.
Oh,
Will you do that?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to spend all my time watching that.
I can't.
You know how much I love the Patriots.
It's good.
I'll watch it. You know I will.
All right. I know you will. And then you and I will have a discussion.
And Mark could ridicule us.
No, he can just stay outside.
Yeah, and I'll basically be like,
Go back to
Yeah.
our roots, back on the board.
yeah, I remember when that happened live.
By
Yeah.
the way, fans of the show, thank you for no commenting on the beard. Appreciate that.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. I asked for a comment on it. I got none. All right, guys. Listen, thanks
Hey,
so
is there a
much.
shot of Robert Kraft holding the trophy?
Like 6 of them.
6 times.
Okay.
6 of them?
Take care, everyone, says Jeff. Hey, listen, guys. Thanks so
All right,
much for
Jeff.
watching this Sports Porch podcast. I'm going to drop this on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your freaking podcasts. And we will see you all next week. I am your technical director,
Do they cover the tuck rule?
and I am out.